nutritionist, fitness expert. What else can we say? Well, the most important thing is that I care, and that's why we're here to share. Now, I'm going to bring on my partner in crime, the one and only Miss Barbara BK Chris. How you doing,
Hey.
Barbara?
Hey, Ferg. I'm good. How are you?
I am good, and I'm excited about what we're about to share with the world. Um,
Yes.
I also want to just encourage those of you who are like listening in. Please like, please share, please comment, because we're about to touch on some things that I believe, will be very, very, very helpful for you, especially if you're someone who cares about your health. You're interested in your gut health, your microbiome. You're working to lose weight. You're doing everything possible to live your healthiest life. Within the next 20 minutes, we're going to share information with you that will be very, very helpful. And you want to share this with your friends and family because as you upgrade your nutrition IQ, it's really nice to be able to share this kind of information with other people so they can live their healthiest life. All that being said,
Yes.
Barbara put up a post the other day, last week, and I saw the post and I was like, wow. And I asked her, I said, please share that inside of our Diet Free Life group.
Hmm.
And I love what you did, Barbara. And so I would love for you to share with those people the backstory. And then we'll get into the nitty gritty and show people exactly what would be ideal for them and why we believe taking the time and putting this together for them is of the utmost importance.
Yes. Oh, awesome. No, thank you for having me on. This is great. And so, yes, I'm Barbara Chris. I'm also a nutritionist and weight loss coach. And the backstory behind this, it had to do with a check-in with one of my clients. And what happened was we checked in. She gave me her numbers like we always do. And I noticed that and of course she knew this, but her weight and her body fat percentage had gone up, which was unique because we had gone through about 2 weeks where her trending, she was going down. So she was happy about that. So I said, one of the first things I asked her was, what did you do differently from this week to last? And she said, well, not much other than I tried these new tortillas. I added these new tortillas into my diet, to my nutrition. So I said, "Why don't you send me a picture of the label of those tortillas?" And lo and behold, I was surprised. And so she gave me the label to the tortillas, and we went ahead and started breaking down what was in that label. So that's what we're going to share with you.
All right. Well, because we did say that we were going to share this, and
Yes.
I love this because when people learn, they get excited. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And as you know, my favorite book says that our people perish for the lack of knowledge. And when it comes to nutrition, a lot of people don't have accurate knowledge, and
Hmm.
they're putting in all of this energy to do better, assuming that they are, and then they find out that they're not. So
Yeah.
here's the disclaimer: if you have been eating certain things that we're about to share with you, don't beat yourself up. It's all good. You now know, and you can now eat a little differently, um, right, and get the results that you do want to get. So,
Right.
and we will answer any questions that you guys have.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Ferg, because it's, in no way is this some kind of judgment or to crucify people. It's really just as a learning experience. And so, like with my client, she thought she was making, a good, healthy choice, and just not realizing what was hidden inside these tortillas.
Okay, well, let's get to it. So, we
Yeah.
put together a little PowerPoint. Let
Yes.
me get that all set up. And as you can see, Barbara and I are right off to the side, everyone. And whenever I go here, Barbara, just so you know, just scream or yell at me if anything changes. But the
Okay.
goal is to kind of get the ball rolling and give them a presentation that will make a ton of sense. Uh,
Yes.
Now, the poll that you put out there says, if you were buying tortillas, which one of these would be your pick and why? We have the whole wheat flour on the left, and we have the corn tortilla on the right.
Yep.
Okay, so this is what everybody saw,
Yep.
and there they are. And so the first thing I want to bring up, well, actually, I was going to bring up the nutrition facts label, but is there
Okay.
anything you want to say before I do that?
Um Let's see. About that, I think you're going to bring up all the nutrition facts behind it. Oh, yes, I will say one thing too. I've tried these tortillas, both the carb balance and the corn. I've tried both. So, like I said, there's no judgment here. Just now with just knowing more about what's in these things can make all the difference. So, with that, go ahead. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. So I believe I kind of went through a couple of the polls, and it seems like about 2/3 of the people chose the carb balance, the whole wheat tortillas,
Mm-hmm.
and you had about a third of the people chose the corn tortillas.
Oh, yes, that's a good point.
And these people chose primarily based on the nutrition facts. So the carb balance, the whole wheat, you look at that, you get 70 calories. And
Mm-hmm.
then, if you guys can't see it, I'll just say it out loud. The corn tortillas, it says 130 calories. Now, the first thing that I noticed is I noticed that with the carb balance whole wheat, that's one tortilla, and the serving size for the corn was two tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little deceiving, right? Because
Yeah.
if they're looking at calories, as one lady shared with me, who's one of my clients, she was doing Weight Watchers. She says, "Well, I would choose the carb balance because the calories were lower. It was like 70 calories." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Well, look a little closer because the serving size, you get two tortillas, and that's 130 calories.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
actually, per tortilla, if we looked only at calories, the corn tortillas per corn tortilla is 65 calories."
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did the same thing. I did got some feedback on several of my platforms about these tortillas. And I would say I mimicked, or the data that I received mimicked the same. 2/3 choosing the carb balance, the flour tortillas, and a third choosing the corn tortillas for similar reasons, calories being one for sure.
Okay. And the other thing I noticed, based on the comments of people, is that they said, "Well, I'm going to go with the carb balance because the total carbs are lower."
Mm-hmm.
Which again, we're looking at, one tortilla versus two.
Mm-hmm.
So 18 grams of carbs. And then the other thing that I noticed, as people make comments about the protein amount, I'm going
Yes.
to choose the carb balance because it has 5 grams of protein compared to only 2 grams with the corn.
Yep. There was also quite a few comments about the fiber content of the uh, flour tortilla versus the corn too. So definitely, people were looking at the macro breakdown of each of the different tortillas.
Okay.
Hmm.
Very interesting.
Very
So
interesting.
I
So
hope everybody gets that because many people were looking for more fiber, and they're about to find out something about that would have been like not being able to see the forest through the trees, if you will.
yeah. So no, so the next thing with my client, one of the key things here is that her goal in working with me was trying to bring down her body fat percentage, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so, when she sent me this label, this flour tortilla label, and I took a closer look at it, we were speaking, and I said, okay, so let me know, of course, because I'm not judging her, but let me know why you picked these tortillas. And she said the same thing. The calories seemed pretty low. There was a great source of fiber. The carb count was low. And then I said, well, let's take a little bit of a closer look at the fat content. And so we ran through the math, and I know you've shared with your followers as well, friends and family, all that, how to break down the nutrition label to compare apples to apples, right? How to convert your, let's say, grams of fat into what that means, and then compare it to the total calories. And so when we did that math, and I showed her how to do that math, we found that the carb balance tortillas calorically were about 45% fat.
So let me. I'm just going to say what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at a tortilla, it's round, that whole round thing. Almost 50% of that tortilla is fat.
Yes.
And I feel like we need to say that 3 more times.
I think you do, because my client
Think
was,
about that. You getting that, Morgan?
she was,
Well,
My
no,
client was like, "What?" She's like, "What do you mean? It's 45% fat." And so I had to break it down again. Really, really show her how to do that.
right. And the people who are all about the keto way of living, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of tortillas that mimic this. They're okay with the fat. So
Yeah.
let's say you're okay with the fat. Then let's look at the ingredients. Okay.
Right.
When you look at the corn, there's three ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't count up the ingredients with the carb balance.
Okay.
It looks like a good amount there. So, from water, so you talk and I'm going to count these.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'm sitting down with my client. We're going over the label, and like I said, that she's thinking this was it was a new product for her. She wanted to try something different for her breakfast, and so she wasn't like she was hardcore. It's only these tortillas is what I can have, but she just wanted to try something different. And based on the label, she thought it was a good choice. And so, and I was working with her. We were kind of breaking down the calories. I showed her how to convert, the grams of fat. I think in this case, it's 3.5 grams of fat in the flour tortilla, how to convert that into calories so that you can compare the calories of fat, which turns out to be about things like 31 and a half calories of fat compared to the total, which was 70. And that's how we get the 45% fat. So she was floored by that just right there. Then she thought, okay, but what about the fiber? There's great fiber in here. I think in this case, it's 15 grams of fiber, which just brings on, more of the talk that we're going to get to, Robert. But, I literally went through macro by macro with her, as well as that ingredient list and how long it was. And needless to say, it was an eye opener. It was an eye opener for, what was really in this flour tortilla versus what she thought she was buying.
Well, for those of you who are listening in, it's about to get real, real. Um, so when you have products that are put together, you have what they call fortified ingredients, meaning those ingredients have been added to that product to make that product. So it's really wise to look at the nutrition facts, but it's wiser to always look at what makes up that nutrition facts. So what ingredients are making that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the corn tortillas, everything for the most part has been intact. There's a process to it, but the fiber never left and it was never enriched with fiber. So it's intact fiber. And
Right.
that type of fiber is going to be helpful for all the positives that you hear about when it comes to the benefits of dietary fiber.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, when you have the carb balance, those are all fortified. They've all come together from who knows where. And because they're fortified and they come together, the marketing will make you feel like you're getting more fiber,
Mm-hmm.
but not much of that fiber is going to do what the claims say dietary fiber does.
Right.
I believe we're looking at about 1% of that dietary fiber is likely to make it to the large intestine to have any kind of benefit.
Right. Yes, there is a huge difference in intact fiber, like you said, let's say from a whole food product versus something that's extracted, somehow modified, and then put back in, which I think they refer to it more as like a functional fiber. Totally different. And that being said, my client, she's kind of going also by this rule of thumb, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, is when let's say they read the ingredients and we're told that, okay, if you can't pronounce these, like this alphabet soup of an ingredient, okay, it's a highly processed food. But when she was reading the ingredients, at least the top ones, right? She's reading, oh, it's modified, wheat starch and whole wheat flour, this, that, and the other. She thought, okay, that can't be bad. It's a word I understand. But there's so much more behind, like you said, Robert. What does modified wheat starch mean? And that's the second most um, uh, abundant ingredient in the tortilla. And
Right.
it's totally a processed, highly processed ingredient.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Good point. And
Mm-hmm.
for those of you who have concerns with your cholesterol, those of you who have any kind of concerns with your um, triglycerides. Those of you who are concerned with your fasting glucose, notice the fifth ingredient is interestrified and hydrogenated soybean oils. So
Mm-hmm.
remove the hydrogenated soybean oils. But this vegetable shortening is used in 2015. The FDA came out and they said that food manufacturers can no longer add trans fatty acids to the food. And they had
Mm-hmm.
until 2018, June 18th. The only reason I know that because that's my birthday. Um, and so I'll always remember that. In 2018, on June 18th, was the deadline. Well, since the early 2000s, they knew this was coming, and I'm talking about the manufacturing companies. So they started using more and more, like replacing the trans fats
Mm-hmm.
with interestrified fats, these oils. Well, these oils, the same as trans fats, will increase your LDL cholesterol,
Mm-hmm.
will decrease your HDL, the good cholesterol. And in studies, it's shown that this ingredient will increase your fasting glucose by 30%.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So so think about it. People are buying the carb balance whole wheat tortilla to get healthier, but there are ingredients in there that
Yep.
are resulting in them becoming more unhealthy. And
Absolutely.
all of these ingredients, and we don't have the time to go into the detail, are creating a disruption with your gut health
Mm-hmm.
that ties directly into autoimmune concerns, inflammation, bloating,
Mm-hmm.
constipation, and the list goes on and on and on. And if you
In
had caught us talking about this,
mm-hmm.
you wouldn't know any. You wouldn't know any
Yeah.
difference.
And inflammation also big time with all of the majority of those ingredients that are listed are known to cause inflammation. It's a big deal, you know, with everything else that you mentioned. And so, yeah, so she was at first I think she was a little bit taken aback by when I kind of called out the tortillas because she really did think that she was making, a wise choice on what she purchased. And when we went through kind of line by line, went through the macros, went through the line item of the ingredients and kind of said what that means or what they are. Like you just said, you shared with the soybean oil. And then if you go even further down, you'll see there's sweeteners and all kinds of additives and preservatives, all kinds of things in there that we know, Robert, research shows are one, they cause inflammation, then two, cause a disruption in your gut microbiome for sure. For sure.
Okay, well let's wrap this up for everybody
Okay.
because still there's a lot of people that don't know what the gut microbiome is.
Okay.
If you go to thegutdiet.com, you can learn more about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the gut microbiome, we've been talking about it a lot, and we'll continue to talk about it. And here's some of the key reasons why we're talking about it. One, it's a big part of your overall health, right? Your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking trillions of microbial cells like in your body. And when we talk about your immune system, 70% of your immune system lives
Mm-hmm.
inside of your gut microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anytime, Barbara, if you want to add to anything, I'll pause and then I'll go to the next one.
Okay.
90% of serotonin that's produced in your body is located or produced in your microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
We have clients who are getting off antidepressants because they get their gut in better health.
Mm-hmm.
50% of dopamine, which is a hormone that plays a huge role in how we feel pleasure, is produced in your microbiome.
Mm-hmm.
Your microbiome influences big time the calorie expenditure in your body. You're either absorbing more or less nutrients into your body because of the health of your gut microbiome.
Right.
They now look at the gut microbiome as a second brain because they're in constant communication. And we now know that very soon the microbiome will be recategorized as an organ because of all the communications and the importance of what takes place inside of the microbiome.
For sure.
And Insulin resistance is hurting a lot of people and is blocking many people from being successful with their ability to lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
And the microbiome is a main driver, a key driver for how insulin resistant we are or how insulin sensitive we are.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in order to really get to a place where you can lose weight as you mature in life, you want to have a healthier gut.
Right. And the idea here, Robert, is not to to shame, like food shame, or say you can never eat things like this. That's would be unrealistic to say, hey, you can never have anything that's ever processed or a tortilla from the bag. The goal here, though, is to really empower people to understand that there's a difference in the quality of, let's say, the food, like ingredients, and how they impact your body. So we felt it was very important to share that when we heard and saw people making comments about, oh, I would pick the flour tortilla, the carb balanced tortilla because of the fiber, because of these macronutrients that seem to be better, are in fact not. And not only that, but they can actually create more of a problem, like you said, Robert, with elevated insulin, inflammation, all kinds of other things that a lot of people are just not aware of.
Right? No, I'm with
Hmm.
you. And
Hmm.
for that reason, we have the 30-day microbiome makeover, which, I get the question I get asked about the 30-day microbiome makeover is people say, well,
Hmm.
Robert, if I've been working with you or I've been coached by you or I've been working with some other coach, is this something that I should do? And number one, I go, look, I don't think you should do anything. However, if you have interest in improving your knowledge and having a thorough or much better understanding of
Hmm.
your own personal health, it's a course. So yes, it's concentrated focus on really getting an understanding of what the gut microbiome is,
Hmm.
how you can make it over,
Hmm.
uh, things that maybe in a coaching I could coach someone for a year or 20 years, and we may not talk about certain things about the microbiome because it doesn't come up.
Right.
We may be talking about exercise or making some changes to their fat burning meals, and of course the microbiome is always part of the thinking behind everything that's
Hmm.
being recommended. But when you do a course, you're engaging in a course that is specifically designed to inform, to educate you on exactly what that course is promising to do.
Exactly. It primes you. It really does prime you to become more inquisitive. I think you call it the label detective, and really getting better at being more critical of the foods, ingredients that you're eating. And again, it's not about going 100%. It's about, okay, how can I make the wisest choices, for me, my family, my loved ones' health, um, and choosing the right food, made up of the right ingredients that make sense for you.
Right.
And there's so much information that's constantly coming out, as we understand the gut microbiome more and more, and how much of a significant role it plays in things that we just didn't think of, 10 years ago. But
Hey,
that all it's
hey, sorry about that. Did I have the was the PowerPoint on? Was I showing that?
No, you just had us on. What do you mean?
Okay, so
Let's put the chart back up.
well, I was showing them, step by step. So they didn't get a chance to see when I was going through the key
Oh,
parts about the about like that.
oh, wait. You know what? Yeah, I don't know if you did or not, because I was looking at the charts down below here too on my phone. So, but let's just share. Let's go ahead and share just in case.
Okay, because sorry about that, you guys. For some reason, whenever I'm doing on this, whenever we use this platform, I cannot see. So I need your eyes, Barbara, to
Uh
be
huh.
able to help me stay the course. Because what happens is I can't see this part of the presentation, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
So you
and so
the
I had
slide is
no
back up.
idea that I was not able to show, as I was talking about the immune system 70%. I was talking about serotonin 90%. I talked about dopamine 50%. I talked about influencing calorie expenditure based on the microbiome. I talked about it's considered our second brain, and I talked about it being a driver of insulin, which is the microbiome.
Yes. Okay.
And
Got
then we
it.
go to this page right here where I share a little bit of insight about the 30-day microbiome makeover. And then at that point, I go out and mission accomplished.
Yes.
So there you go.
Very nice. Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. No, I think you had it up for a minute. I think you had it up.
See, that's when we
And
need more eyes. We need more eyes, Morgan. More eyes.
yeah, well, sometimes that's just how it goes.
You just go.
It
You just
kept
go with
people
the flow.
engaged. They were like, "Hey, put the stuff out, put the information out. We want to know."
Okay. Well,
Um,
we did it.
we did, and I'm glad. I'm glad we did. And I'm so thankful. So for everyone who participated on the poll, the question that went out, whether it was on my feed or on the Diet Free Life feed or on Robert's feed, we got some great input. It was really good. So thank you.
All right. So mission
Yeah.
accomplished. If you want to learn more, you guys go to thegutdiet.com. And if you have questions, at least my email is there. You can go there. You can email us. You can contact Barbara. You can contact me. Post in the comments. We'll come through and we'll share additional information. And I'm sure before November 1st, when we kick off this course, we
Yeah.
will come back and we will do a couple more things. You can also learn more about, Diet Free Life at dietfreelife.com. You can learn and contact Barbara at bkfatloss.com.
Yeah.
And again, you can go to thegutdiet.com to learn more about the course. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So,
It's so good. It's really good.
final words, Barbara, before we say goodbye.
Final words would be, just read those labels. Read those labels, become accustomed to getting down to the ingredients and not being afraid to look some things up, because you will surprise yourself at what you find out.
Yeah, and if you forget everything, the one thing I would say when you look at labels, don't just look at the nutrition facts. Read the ingredients, and if you see anything that has interestrified fats in it,
Yes.
interestrified oils, put it down and choose something else because that's your first sign of something that is 100% not going to contribute to your health, but instead it's going to take away from your health.
Yes. Good point.
All
Good
right.
point.
Yeah.